Hey guys, welcome to this video. Today I thought I would do something slightly different for this channel and give you some of my top tips for saving money, keeping on a budget, especially good if you're a student, because a lot of these things I discovered whilst being a student at university. It is something that I would normally put on my second channel, which I'll leave a link in the description bar below, but I thought it might be something that a lot of you who might not be interested in that channel would like to know about. So I have my list here full of my tips. So yeah, let's begin. The first tip that I want to share with you is to make a list. So make a list of the groceries you need, or if you like watching YouTube and read blogs, you might have a list of makeup that you want to spend when you get paid from your job. So to have a list is a lot more helpful because you can kind of work out how much it would cost and save up the money appropriately. Or if they've got a luxury beauty item, you might decide to kind of save up for that, and you have a record of how much it is and how much you got going in, so you can save up for that in the near future, which is something that I do. If there's a product that I like, I will kind of sign up and write it down so I don't forget, and the next time that I have some extra money, it can go towards that. And the second tip kind of ties in with the first one, and when you take out the money that you need for that specific trip, whether it's to do your weekly grocery shop or your monthly beauty shop, taking out at least £10 more and factoring that in will help you save money rather than hinder it, which sounds really weird, but hear me out. Hands up if you go shopping and you spend a little more than you normally would. I was guilty of that, especially when I went grocery shopping. I would often go through the DVD aisle or the book aisle, and there would always be something that I would like to pick up as a little treat. I knew that personally, so what I would do is I would take out an extra £10, or if I didn't take it out, at least add it into my calculation, so that when it came down to it, I knew I wasn't losing out on that £10 because I had factored it in. It's a good way of, again, keeping track of the money that you have, and it's a good way of not overspending because you know you've got a limit to overspend, so to speak. So that's my second tip. My third tip would be to shop around. With the internet, this is really easy to do. It means that you don't have to walk around shop to shop thinking if Primark has a cheaper version of a basic in H&M. Actually, Primark's a bad example because they don't have an online store yet. But you know what I'm trying to say. If you need a kind of dress and you don't know where to look, or you don't want to spend too much on it, you can look online, your favourite shops. You can kind of see the price ranges of them. You can filter in the price ranges as well and have a look at the different dresses in the different shops for your price range, and then you can go in the store and buy it if you want, or even make a small purchase online. But shopping around allows you to get the best for your money and allows you to have a more handle on your budget, because you don't end up picking up the first thing you see because you can't be bothered to go to the next shop. And the fourth tip that I would suggest, and this is mainly to do with beauty products and maybe fashion as well, depending on how often you buy clothes, is to wait for certain times of the year to buy certain products. That's something that I do. I generally tend to do big clothes shopping certain times of the year, usually around winter time when all the kind of winter stuff is coming in, usually around October, when winter's fully in sledge and all the new collections are officially released. I don't really have a summer kind of module vibe, but that would be another chance. Also, I also do save up money for Boxing Day sales. Sometimes in case I get a chance to go there. Beauty wise, you don't need makeup, which is quite ironic considering I have a makeup and beauty channel on YouTube, but it's something that you can wait for, especially on the luxury items. Christmas is my favourite time of the year to shop for beauty stuff because the gift sets you have are incredibly phenomenal from the big brands, especially. Lancome usually do some really nice ones if you're into them kind of mascaras and skincare. Urban Decay do some good releases around that time of year. A lot of the brands either do new releases for that time of year or they do good gift sets and good kind of starter kits and things like that for you to try out the brand at that time of year. Laura Mercier is a really expensive skincare brand, but they have some really nice sets during that time of year, so that would be something that I would wait to spend that on. And I know I'm not the only one, I know quite a lot of other people kind of stock up on those kind of things at that time of year as well, and it's definitely worth looking into doing that. So basically what I would do is when that time of year comes is when you get the however amount of money you get from either your student loan or from your job if you're working and you're not a student, or even both if you're a working student, take out a certain amount of money that I would dedicate to that, plan that at the beginning of the month, so then I might go out for a expensive meal less, and I might plan more girly nights in with my friends that week and that kind of thing, just so that you're more aware of what's out there rather than that time of year coming and then you being so overwhelmed and thinking, there's all this that I want, but I don't have enough money. I wish I had saved up for that kind of stuff, but I spent it on a film that I could have waited to watch on DVD, or that kind of thing. Allows you to kind of stay in control and allows you to factor it in. And the fifth tip that I would suggest is to pay off all your kind of essentials first. I know as a student, when your student loan comes in at certain times of the year, is when you have to pay your bills, you have to pay either the student accommodation, or if you're living in a house you have to pay your house bills. Just to get those out of the way, if you've got a credit card, pay off your monthly credit card bill at that time of the year, just because it allows you to know how much you've got left afterwards, which can be used obviously for your weekly shopping, but then the rest of that can be used for kind of your own leisure, so you know how much that is. It's not on your head that I can't spend that amount of money because I need to pay this off at the end of the month. If you kind of pay it off at the beginning of the month when you need to, or as soon as you get that payment, it makes life a lot more easier for you. I'm a bit like Monica from Friends when it comes to stuff like that. If I know when I get my own house and I have to pay a lot more bills than I do at the moment, that would be something that I would be doing, and it's something that I did when I was at university as well. As soon as I knew that I had rent to pay, I would pay it off and get it over and done with. It gets rid of the stress that you have on the back, and it just makes things a lot more easier. And the last tip, which is one of my favourite tips, and something that seems like it takes a long time, but in the end it really doesn't, and that is to try things on and also to swatch things. This comes from experience. When I go shopping, I can find it really difficult to find clothes, and I might see something that I like on a hanger but it doesn't necessarily fit me. Girls, we've all been there. I'm sure you guys have as well. What I would do is I go into the fitting room and try it on. Yes, it can be a pain sometimes, but it stops you from kind of buying things that you might not wear, because when you come home you find that it doesn't fit. And also it stops you from having to make an extra trip back to the shopping centre and having to return an item as well. And a lot, because I only tend to buy clothes if I know I'm really going to like them, and it's a good way to figure out if I'm going to like something by trying it on. The same goes for makeup. I read tons of blogs and I watch tons of YouTube videos. That isn't a secret. And there are some things I would think watching on camera or reading about are really good and are really interesting to use and are kind of hyped products, but when I go to swatch it on my hand, they're not for me. The lipstick might be a lot more glossier than I would prefer, or the pigmentation on the eyeshadow might not be what I would expect, or not, or even better than what I expected. So it gives you a real kind of understanding of the product. For example, I was able to see the Lorac Pro palette in use a couple of months ago by a makeup artist, and the Lorac Pro palette is kind of up there in the list of palettes that I really want, but you can't really get it in the UK. It's only really sold in America, so I have to wait to get my hands on it, unfortunately. But it's been really hyped up, and unless you actually kind of go to swatch it, you would never know if it was actually worth it or whether it was just kind of people's perceptions that you might not like. And I was amazed at how soft and how beautiful the pigmentation and the texture of the shadows were. So I definitely know, although it's an expensive product, I think it's about £30 if you convert it from US dollars to UK pound. It's definitely worth looking into. Same with Urban Decay shadows. If you're really into makeup, that is something that I found useful when I have been buying clothes and makeup. Yeah, those are the end of my tips for being on a budget. Hope you guys have found that interesting. Sorry, slightly different. Let me know your budget kind of tips and tricks in the comments, or send me a tweet. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye!